As we all know, social media changed the way we do pretty much everything, the way we communicate with our family, the way we communicate with our colleagues, the way we do business, the way we sell, the way we market. And we're going to touch pretty much on all of that tonight. We're going to talk about social media from the perspective, maybe you're a grandmother and you want to stay in closer touch with your kids or your grandkids, or maybe you're out of work and you'd like to find a job and you want to get your resume out there and connect with people. You're going to have to do it communicating digitally. Or maybe you have a small business that you'd like to grow. Maybe you work for a Fortune 500 company and your responsibility is either sales, public relations, or marketing. So as you can see, pretty much, even if you're a nonprofit or a government entity, you still have to understand what social media is and how to use it. Who here is willing to stand up in front of millions of people and define social media for me? Yeah, kind of that's what I thought. We did a recent survey, and we found that 66.4% of the people said that they knew what social media was, but they weren't comfortable in defining what it is. Because it's like, you know the story of the two blind men, one's got the trunk and one's got the tail, and they're all trying to define what this elephant is in the middle. And that's what social media is. It's a huge thing. And what we also realized is that 99.1% of the people that we surveyed realized that social media, they admitted that social media has affected their life. It has changed their lives. So you probably should be able to define what social media is. Now, social media, here it comes. You may even want to write this down because this is like earth-shattering. Social media is the media that we use to be social. Yeah, and I know that sounds like a wise guy answer, but if you think about it just for a second, really, that's what we're talking about. It's the media that we use to be social. We use smartphones, we use Facebook, we use Twitter, we use all these different medias just to connect with other people, to share ideas, to share our feelings, to share photographs, moments in time, moments in our lives, and to benefit by connecting with other people. So really, social media is the technology that we use to be social. From a marketing perspective, traditional media is what we all grew up with. And that always was analog. Analog meaning no numbers involved. When you called somebody, it was your voice that rattled the little speaker, and then those impulses went over the wire. But now everything is converted to ones and zeros. Our newspaper has gone from newspaper to digital. Our music, anybody remember 45 RPMs? I had a ton of them, man. I loved those. And now they're all MP3s. They're all digital. So even though you didn't realize it, every single thing that we did as children now, we're now doing digitally. It was analog and we're doing it digitally. In marketing, traditional marketing has always been push. They call it push marketing, pushing a message out, information going one way. Because when somebody took an ad out in the newspaper, nobody expected to listen to the newspaper for comments coming back from the customers. It just didn't make any sense. So it's always been a monologue. We would push it out, see if it worked. If it didn't, we would change it up, try it again. So that changed when social media and digital marketing came on the scene. Now, digital marketing is a little bit different. Digital means it doesn't imply communication at all. Digital marketing is things like SEO, search engine optimization. How do you get your web page recognized if you have a business? Doesn't imply two-way communication or one-way communication, but it's digital and it's still part of marketing. RSS, really simple syndication. For the people to have the ability to automatically sign up for your email blasts and they just get notified, or your blog notified automatically. So those are tools that we still have to do. We have to optimize our pages and we have to do all this digital stuff, but there's no communication. And now the most important thing and why you're here is social media. And that's where we moved from a monologue, a one-way conversation, to a dialogue. And that really freaked out a lot of people in marketing because they weren't used to listening to their customers. And now the customers actually have a stronger voice than we have as a corporation. We no longer control our corporate messages. Our customers control our corporate message. Because in the old days, there really was a report that said that a happy customer would tell between 5 and 7 people about a good experience. And an unhappy customer would tell between 9 and 15 people about their bad experience. That's absolutely not true. Nowadays, they're not going to tell 15 people. They're going to tell 15,000 people or 150,000 people. So we had better listen to what our customers are saying about us, and we're going to talk about that too in one of these segments, cyber surveillance. As I said earlier, I've been on the internet since 1994, and I have 181,000 web pages that refer to me. I know, that's insane. You won't find my wife's name. No, you won't. You won't find my kids' names. You won't find my dogs' names, or even if I have dogs. You won't find my cell phone, and you won't find my home address. You know why? Because it's the internet. It's the World Wide Web. It's public. Never put anything on the internet that you wouldn't put on a piece of paper and hand out to strangers on a downtown street corner. It's just that simple. You want to protect your identity, don't put anything out that you wouldn't give to a stranger. You don't have to fill out your date of birth if you don't want to on Facebook. You don't have to. So simply don't do it. I want you to consider this. If you have any concerns whatsoever about online privacy, go back and look at your profiles and start pulling out information that just isn't relevant. I put my month and day, but I don't put my year. It's nobody's business. It's just nobody's business because it is public. But too often we forget and we think that because we're only connecting with friends and family and people that we trust, that's not the case. We've seen that several times with Facebook where the information got out without their control, without us even knowing about it. Don't put it out there, and you never have to worry about privacy. Really, what we're talking about is common sense more than anything. Now, also, a lot of people, believe it or not, are still scared about using credit cards online. Don't worry about that either. The Fair Credit Billing Act says that if your credit card is stolen online, and they go insane, they buy a new house, they buy a Mercedes-Benz, they buy a Lear. First of all, I want you to call me. I want to know how you got that credit limit. But the second thing is, you're not liable for any more than $50. The bank eats it. So don't be afraid to put your credit card out there. Now, don't be crazy with it. And by the way, if you report it to the bank before that credit card gets abused, you're liable for nothing. 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 No matter what they do with that credit card. Don't abuse that, but don't be afraid. Okay, and I also promised that I was going to talk about mobile marketing. Fastest growing single segment of marketing on earth, throughout the earth, and everybody is getting on the bandwagon. Now, if you look at that bar chart, that's how we're using it right now. Pretty much all of us have smartphones. We're getting close to it. Actually, the numbers are 60% of all Americans have smartphones, and almost 80% of people between the ages of 18 and 44. That's 80%, 18 to 44 years old. That's your demographic. That's who's going to hire you. That's who's going to buy your product. They got smartphones. And this is how we're using them. For email, for news, for directions, because you know men will never stop. So we get our phones. Music, video, games. That's how we're using it now. But that's not how we're going to use it here in the near future. You're going to see the biggest breakthrough in technology. We're all familiar with this. Does everybody know this? They recognize it as a QR barcode. I love QR barcodes. I love QR barcodes because it's the first time in history that we have the opportunity to actually connect something printed with the internet, with something digital. It changes us from traditional printed hard copy and pushes us into this digital communication that we've been talking about. Because by simply pointing your smartphone at that QR barcode, you can connect to anything, a video, a JPEG, a website, anything that's on the internet. You can sign up for an email list, and you've all seen them. I love them in magazines because if I'm really enjoying the article and there's one of those QR barcodes, I grab my cell phone because I know that there's either more article, there's a white paper, there's a video that I can watch, there's more content that's associated with it that isn't just simply in there. My intention is to expose you to the very broad landscape of social media and how much fun it can be and how useful it can be and how it could really be used in every day in your life. Communicating with family, with colleagues. I just connected with a friend of mine from high school. I swear, I had not seen this guy in 41 years. And we had lunch in LA the other day. It almost makes me go to tears. I never thought I'd see him again. Can you imagine? But it's because of digital communication. It's because of social networking. So I want you to feel the same passion that I feel about it. And the way you do it is just do it. Don't be afraid of it. It's not that bad. It's not that hard. It's actually fun. And when you start to see how it pays back and the enjoyment and the profit that you could make by using it, you're just going to want to use it more and more.